Morning, everybody. Continuing with the laws of Lashon Harah, evil speech, Klal Yud, Halacha Daled, chapter 10, number 4, and we're discussing the laws of Toeles, the times when it's allowed to speak Lashon Harah. There are 7 conditions that we mentioned a few classes ago, and we're going through now some details about the conditions and discussing them. So, one of the conditions, one of the major ones, was Litoelis. When it's allowed to speak Lashon Harah, it has to be for a constructive purpose. You can't just speak Lashon Harah because makes you feel good, to denigrate somebody. Then it's prohibited. It has to be for a purpose. And the case we've been discussing, which the Chavetz Chaim talked about, is let's say you see Reuven steal something from Shimon. You see him steal the Amazon package from in front of his house, and by speaking Lashon Harah that Reuven stole, you'll be able to get Shimon's package back for him. Then it's allowed. And it's the toelis. Because that's a toelis, that's a purpose. You're not just trying to denigrate the thief, you're trying to get the package back. That is one of the 7 conditions. There are 6 other ones. I refer you back to a few shiurim ago to hear those. But now we're going to discuss this condition of toelis. So number 4, haprada chamishi, the 5th condition, shekasavnu le'el, sheichavin l'toelis hu k'mosh nivar, is that your kavana, your intent, has to be for a constructive purpose. Like we'll explain. דהיינו לא מבואים האנשים שהוא מספר לפניהם יכולים הם לעזור לנגזול והנשק והנזק והמזבייש בעניינים בוודאי נכון לעשות הדבר כן. Right? For sure, in a case where if you tell some people, hey, you know Reuven stole from Shimon, and these people are able to get the object back to Shimon, for sure you're allowed to say it, right? You're talking to people, and they know how to obtain the package to return what was stolen. So for sure you're allowed to say it. But even if the people you're speaking to, they will not be able to get the package back, they'll not be able to return the stolen object. Nevertheless, there are still constructive purposes where you're allowed to say that Reuven is a thief. What's a constructive purpose where you're not getting the package back, you're not returning the object to Shimon? It could be that you want to distance people from evil ways. You're denigrating a thief, and you want people to learn that one should not be a thief. So you're telling these people, and you are saying how bad it is to be a thief, and they're going to learn that thievery and theft is bad. And perhaps Reuven himself, maybe the thief himself, will do tshuva, he'll repent, midarch of harayim. He'll correct his actions. When he hears that people are denigrating him and speaking ill of him because he sinned, perhaps he'll do tshuva, he'll repent himself. Very often, people do things that are wrong because they don't. Nobody tells them about it, right? Not everyone is, an evil person that just does evil, and even when people tell them that it's evil, they're still doing it. Many people do things wrong because they either rationalized why it's okay in their head, or for a variety of reasons. But when they see that the community at large is looking down on them and denigrating them, they'll do tshuva. It's very common. So that's why, sometimes it's important to look down and speak ill of evildoers. Because then people will not, the evildoers themselves will do tshuva, repent. It's a very, very bad thing to praise people that do things wrong, rishayim. Right? It says also, Rabbeinu Yonah says in a verse in Mishlei, Ish Lafi Mahalo, that you can tell a person's values by what he praises. If he praises a person who is a thief, that's what he values. If he praises a person who's a tzaddik, then that's what he values. So a practical application of toelis, of speaking for a purpose, is this guy, you saw him yourself steal something, and you are denigrating him in front of other people. Maybe he'll do tshuva. Even though there's no chance of him returning the object, maybe it was lost or whatever, it was stolen again, who knows. Okay, Gamze Einenu Bichlal Lashon Harah, this is not Lashon Harah, L'toelis Yichashiv, it's for a purpose. Kevin Sha'al Kol Panim, Ein Mechaven Lahenos Mehapagam Hahu Shehu Nosim Mechaveo Rak L'Kana Laemes V'ula Yavo Deze Toelis Alahaba. Right, this is not Lashon Harah because your intent is not to denigrate him, but meaning for your own enjoyment, right? You don't you're not just denigrating him because you get a geschmack out of it, it's enjoyable to you, but rather you're saying something negative about him so that there should be a future purpose. Now, he writes here in the Hagav, in the addendum, that if you're speaking the Lashon Harah in order to get him to do tshuva or to denigrate him in front of others that he's a thief, and there's no chance of getting the object back in that case, then you're only allowed to do it if the person who was stolen from knows that it was stolen from him, meaning he knows that he lost something. Sometimes things get stolen and people don't even realize. It's only when the person realized it got stolen. The reason is it could be rechilus, because when you speak about the thief, it might you don't want it to be known to the one who was stolen from that this person stole from him, even though you don't tell the thief, even though you don't tell the one who was stolen from directly, but word will get back to him. And it sounds like he's going to explain later in Hilchos Rechilas why that is, that if he doesn't know the object was stolen, you're not allowed to speak the Lashon Harah if it's only for a toeles of distancing people from his evil ways. But it does sound like that if the point of you speaking this is so that the Nigzal, the one who was stolen from, gets his object back, then it's allowed. That's only prohibited when the one who got his object stolen from him doesn't know if the purpose is to distance this guy from evil, distance people from evil ways alone. But if you are going to get the object back by saying it, then it is allowed. And that, he says, is going to be discussed more in Hilchos Rechilas, which is the next section. Okay. But let's say you saw this guy steal, and you know there's absolutely going to be no positive purpose, no positive outcome for you speaking about this person stealing. How could that be? Could go im hanashim shehu mesaper lifneim gam hem balei aresha shegam hem asu kama pa'am kara hazos la'anashim v'onachsha beineim la'avon klal. Let's say you're in front of a group of thieves. They're also thieves. So there's no purpose of telling them that Reuven's a thief because they're not going to care. It's not going to distance them from thievery. Right? It's not going to spread the word that this guy is evil. They don't care. They think it's a good thing. So there's no purpose in saying that. And for sure, these types of people, bad people, thieves and whatnot, and robbers, you should definitely not say these things to them. Besides for the fact that nothing positive will come about it, you could begin a very bad thing can come out of it. How so? What are they going to do? What are thieves going to do? You start telling thieves that Reuven's a thief. They're going to go tell Reuven and say, hey, so and so is telling you that you're a thief, is talking about you badly behind your back. And they're going to violate the prohibition of Rechilas. Rechilas is you go to someone and he says, hey, Reuven was talking about you? That's gossiping. That's Torah prohibition. So all you're doing by telling these evil people that Reuven stole is that you're causing them to do Rechilas because they're not good people and you know they're going to do this. Right? And what's going to happen? You're just going to get in a fight. It's not going to be anything productive. And it could also come to reporting to the government, which we spoke about before is a big problem. And so one should not speak to these evildoers about an evildoer. So one's only even though one saw Reuven do a terrible sin, he went into someone's house and stole something, one is only allowed to share that information if there's going to be a positive purpose, which is to get the object which was stolen back, or to perhaps get this person to repent, or to distance people from this thief, this evildoer. But if you're just in front, if you're in like a bar of thieves, and you're telling them what Reuven did, there's absolutely no purpose, and in fact it's going to be very detrimental because these people will just tell Reuven, he'll get in a fight, and nothing productive will happen. And always these situations, they cause for judgment. Every situation needs to be judged independently. V'da, and no, the ein chilik b'chol elo pratim beinim bikesh oso anigzol v'anizak v'mizbayesh shidrush avuro o heziku al bono o lo bikshu. The be'ofen ha'muter hu afilu lo bikesh oso v'ofen ha'aser dahainu im lo nishnu pratim hanal lo mahani afilu bikesh oso. A very important thing. It says there's no difference, right? In all of these things, right? A guy got his stuff stolen, and you know who stole it. You saw it. So the guy who, the victim here, he says to you, can you do me a favor? Can you try to get this package back? Maybe you could tell XYZ what happened, and they could help me get the package back. So he says that makes no difference if the victim told you to do it or didn't tell you to do it. If you have the 7 conditions, you could do it. If you don't have the 7 conditions, you can't do it, even if the victim asks for your help, right? The victim asking for your help, It's totally irrelevant. All that matters is if you fulfill the 7 conditions which we mentioned earlier. And if you want to look back, the class we gave, it was chapter 10, halacha number 2. It was like a few classes ago. We're on 10.4. That was 10.2. Okay. Vafiluhu krovo gamkin. Even if it's his relative, right? Let's say your brother comes to you and says, yeah, I know you saw so and so stole something from me. Can you help me? So there's no difference if he's your brother or if he's anybody. If you have the 7 conditions, you could help. If you don't have the 7 conditions, you can't help. And he writes, many people make grave mistakes in this area. Right? Many people make that mistake that if something happens to a family member, they do not bother to fulfill the 7 conditions. Their family member asks them to do something to damage somebody else. They say, this guy stole from me, and you don't know if it's true or not. And usually a family member will just listen to his relative and do what he says right away and say, oh, I'm protecting my family, I got to do this. Chavetz Chaim says, no, you have to have all the 7 conditions. You have to know for instance, one of the 7 conditions is, you know for sure what happened was true. You're only allowed to do this if you know it was true. It's irrelevant that it's your family member. But time bezet tos gedola, they make a big mistake by doing this. Ke'ein chiluk ben karv l'rachok l'chol hadinim hanal shelo nemar b'sarcha lo al tisalim k'dei lasas iser. Right? People say, they quote the verse that from your flesh you shall not hide. Right? But that doesn't help to do a prohibition. So if something's prohibited, it's prohibited whether the person who asked you is a family member or it's a stranger. And if it's allowed, it's allowed. Or if it's a mitzvah, whether it's a family member or a stranger. So again, just to summarize, even though one saw another do a sin, and 100% you saw it yourself, the guy stole from somebody else, you're only allowed to speak Lashon Harah, speak evil about him, if there's a purpose, a constructive purpose for the future. What could that be? That could be, 1, to get the object back to the individual who it was stolen from. 2, it could be so this person repents, does tshuva when he hears people denigrating him. 3, it could be that to keep other people away from his evil ways and keep other people away from theft. And we also said that the 7 conditions which we need is irrelevant if the victim asked you to do something or if not, and it's irrelevant if it was a family member who's asking for your help or if it's a stranger. Hope everybody has a beautiful day and a beautiful conclusion to the weekend.